Welcome to Chasing Man. I'm your host, Lehr McAwee. So what is Chasing Man? Simply, it's just man chats. The whole idea of these man chats is just to hear people's journeys through life, the challenges and the adversity that they've faced along the way. The whole idea is so you can grab some of their tools to throw in your toolbox. So if you ever come to the same situation in your own life, you know how to deal with and get through those situations. Today we have Danny Lehr, the legend in the CrossFit and weightlifting world, for his brand Caffeine and Kilos. It's an apparel company and they make some goddamn beautiful coffee as well. During this chat, Danny talks a lot about what it takes to be successful in life, not only as a business owner, but a human being. So enjoy this one. And remember, if you really enjoy this podcast, subscribe and like and share it with a friend. Super excited about today's podcast. Not only is he our first American guest, but he is just a genuine, down-to-earth, good bastard. So, Danny Lehr, welcome to Chasing Man.
Oh, thank you. We made it.
Yes, we did. What's the situation down your end of the world, buddy, with the whole pandemic and everything?
Well, I'm in California, so the political climate in California is pretty liberal. The governor was previously the mayor of San Francisco, just to kind of, that's obviously a very liberal city and everything. So the state is being extremely cautious as far as opening everything back up. Our numbers have actually been really good as far as compared to other parts of the country and other parts of the world. So California's been doing a pretty good job as far as limiting the impact. And so now it's just kind of the waiting game for things to start rolling back along here.
CrossFit gym is still closed and waiting?
It is. I don't say closed. I like to say we have temporarily suspended our on-site classes.
Here we go. So you've got a big online presence, is it?
Yeah, well, we do now. So we've been doing live streaming. We live stream 3 times a day. And
Wow.
we started doing that the next day. So when we found out, we kind of prepared for it. I to a degree I saw it coming, and then I have a business coach who was really kind of on it. It's like, hey guys, look, like this is gonna happen. Like fucking get ready. And so
is that Craig or?
Yeah, Craig Valentine.
Yeah, he's an amazing dude, huh?
Oh, amazing, yeah. And so I was like, all right, well, he seems pretty serious about this. And a couple weeks earlier, he said, hey, this is very likely. And then like a week or two later, he's like, hey guys, this is gonna happen. Like if you're not ready, right? And so I had kind of had some ideas in mind and what we were gonna do and all that. And so I got everybody in, briefed them on everything, and then we actually temporarily suspended our on-site classes a few days before it was announced, because it was a thing where, attendance was already starting to drop. People were getting nervous about it. People weren't coming in. People were still coming in, but like classes were probably about 70% of where they were a couple days earlier.
Yep.
It's like, look, if a lot of people are already uncomfortable with this, they're going to be wondering what's going on. People are going to start either canceling or going on hold if they're not coming in because they don't know what's up. So what can we do in the meantime to still be able to offer these people something and help them out, instead of just kind of leave them fucking dangling and struggling.
Man, great tool. Be proactive rather than reactive. Yep. I love it.
Exactly. And so, and it was pretty clear it was going that way. And then so it was going county by county. And so not our county, but one's just like one or two counties over, they started implementing all the shelter in place. Like, all right, well, if it's happening there, it's a matter of days until it happens here.
And what's the response from members been like to take it online?
Oh, they get it. I mean, you know how it is though. At first, everyone was great and a lot of participation in the workouts. And then, 7 weeks later, like shit starts getting old, you know, and we're doing our best and we're doing, special. We loaned out equipment just for free, let people borrow some equipment. And it's like everybody got one dumbbell or one kettlebell, then all the workouts, use that piece of equipment. And so everything's been pretty good and people have been really understanding and patient and all that. But now public opinion is starting to kind of sway the other way.
Yeah, tricky times. Anyway, I know lots about you, and the listeners that don't know CrossFit or don't know weightlifting may not know much about you. So, do you want to give us a bit of the bio of Danny Lehr, and maybe a little bit more than that, but just tell us what your sort of your childhood upbringing was like as well, with regards to, I don't know, sports and family, and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah, my parents, we were always playing sports. In fact, I actually grew up, my parents were playing rec league sports. And so we would, like, after church on Sunday, we'd go to the soccer field, and my parents were playing on this, city co-ed soccer team, right? And city league team. And then, so in the evenings, we're going to softball games. My parents are playing these co-ed softball leagues for the city also. So as a child, like, I kind of grew up going to those things. And it was just normal for people to be active, Actually, funny, I remember a few times we're driving out to soccer fields. My mom's already out there, whatever. And after church, my dad's driving out, and he's changing while he's driving because he's going to get there like right on time. And I don't just mean like his shirt, like we've all done that. Like this guy, like, I remember he's like putting on his shin guards, like on the freeway. Anyway, at the time I was like, oh man. And then looking back now, I'm like, man, what the fuck, So there's a lot of that. And they had us in sports. They had us playing everything. Well, at least, like in America, kind of the standards for most kids anyway, like soccer, soccer, baseball. I did some basketball camps, not a ton of basketball though. And then as I got into high school, wrestling became my main sport. The thing I was kind of best at. I still played soccer, wrestled, and then I did track as well. So I kind of had all that as far as athletic backgrounds. And then outside of kind of organized athletics, my dad just loves being outside. So we'd go backpacking, camping, all that type of stuff. And so as a kid, I was 5 years old. My brother was like 8, and my dad would take us out going on these 30-mile backpacking trips. We'd be gone for 5 or 6 days, and we'd hike 5 or 6 miles a day over these mountains, carrying my own backpack with my own sleeping bag and food and all that shit. Doing that at, 5, 6 years old, starting off. And so I actually credit that with a lot of like the whole, what's the term people say, like stick-to-itiveness, right? Like the don't quit attitude and that type of thing. Just because from a young age, it's like, you're going over this mountain and you're 30 miles from the nearest road, no matter which way you go, and so it doesn't really matter if you're tired. You can't just sleep there on the trail. Yep. It's like you got to get to the next spot where we're going to stay the night, right? Or the next campground, or the next at least wide spot on the trail anyway. Got to get over the mountain. So kind of that quitting isn't an option. I've realized as an adult that I think that had a big impact on me growing up, kind of as well, that those experiences. So that's really, I guess that's kind of it. Might answer some of the question. So then I guess that brings us to now.
Yeah, where are you at now?
Yeah, so
who is Danny Lehr?
Yeah, so after high school, I went to college to be a PE teacher, and I want to teach PE so that I could keep coaching wrestling. I started coaching wrestling when I was in college, and my teams, we had some success, and I was having a good time. So I was teaching PE, coaching wrestling. I ended up getting a guy I knew just opened this gym, and it needed some help with it. And so then I got on board with him. And so then we started CrossFit Excel Health and Fitness. And so that started in 2008. So I was doing that and teaching PE. And then my wife and I had a baby. And then a couple months after having a baby, I started a company called Caffeine and Kilos. We were just going to host a big,
Great coffee, by the way. Great coffee.
Great coffee. So we just want to host a big competition, get the best weightlifters in the country out, give them a cash prize. And then people really kind of got behind that idea. And it turns out drinking coffee and lifting weights, a lot of people like doing that. So that's so Caffeine and Kilos just shot off. It just like a rocket, right out the gates. Huge success. So kind of ended up being something that was not the plan. It ended up being way more way more than what the initial plan was for it, which is all positive, obviously. So then I quit teaching, and so now it's been 4 or 5 years where I haven't been teaching at all. Just been going full time with Caffeine and Kilos, trying to keep that thing on the tracks, and then with the gym as well.
So with the gym, is it just you now, or are you still involved with the business partner?
Yeah, so I have a business partner, but different than originally.
Yeah.
So I had 2 other business partners. They both left the business for different reasons, all on good terms. It was just time for different reasons. And then who was our head trainer and been with us for years, he was gonna get in at like a smaller percentage anyway, and so the timing kind of worked out. So those guys left, and then now it's just me and Buddy Hitchcock.
Sweet. How do you, like, with all those things going on, mate? So you've got your Caffeine and Kilos, which for the people listening, you've got to go check that out. It's huge in the CrossFit and weightlifting world.
Mm-hmm.
And having that, the gym.
Yeah.
I know you're a very strong family man, because your
Yeah.
IG is all about the family, which is amazing. Your girls are beautiful. How do you balance that all out? How do you make time for all 3 of those things and stay sane?
Oh, well, so it's I have a schedule that I'm relatively strict on. And there's times where it's, in and out, but I do a pretty good job of staying to it. For one, and this is, again, credit to Craig Ballantyne. He actually is a big help with this part of it, because you get in the situation where when you're working, especially if you're working from home, or just, if you're running a business, there's always something to do, right? Like, there's never nothing to do. There's always something to do. So when I'm at home and I'm with my kids, I feel like I should be working. But then if I'm working, I feel like I should be spending time with the kids. And like, there's nights where I'd put my girls to bed, and then so I have a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, right? So I'd like put my kids to bed, and then I realized that the last hour that they were awake, I wasn't really paying attention to them. Like, I was on my phone, like, not fucking around. I was working or whatever, or I was even on my computer working. But then it's like, well, now they're in bed, and now I'm sitting here, and I kind of want to hang out with them or want to talk to them about their day and stuff, and that's not an option.
Yeah.
And so Craig helped me implement, we'll call it a phone bed. And so I just every night from basically dinner time until they go to bed, there's like 2.5 hour gap or so. I just put my phone in the other room and don't touch it, don't look at it.
Such a great tool. Such a great tool.
It's great. And so just around 5 o'clock every night, I just go in the laundry room, put my phone down on this counter in the other room, and then I don't look at it again until they're in bed. And so it's funny, a lot of times people think that, even people who aren't running their own business, right? Like, how many people go 2.5 hours without looking at their phones, And so
not enough.
There's always some excuse why they can't, right? It's like, oh, well, I've got this or whatever. And but hey, man, I'm running these businesses, and I can do it. So I think,
and it's so funny, right? We say, oh, we've got all this important stuff happening, but the reality is nothing is as important as family. It's not life and death situations, right?
Right. And like, what I don't want is, I don't want to be in a situation where they're older, and then like right now they still want to talk to me most of the time. You know what I mean? Like, they still want to hang out, and that's going to come to an end, sooner than you think. So, that's I got to keep that in mind as well. Like, you have to keep priorities straight. And so what allows me to do that too is being disciplined in other areas, right? So like, I get up at 4:30 every morning, 7 days a week, and I work from 5 a.m. until about 7 a.m. 7 days a week, without fail. And so really it's like, okay, yeah, I can take this 2.5 hour block from 5 to 7 p.m., whatever, where I'm not on my phone, I'm not working. But the flip side of that is, from 5 to 7 a.m., I'm working every single day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So, you make up that time elsewhere, and I'm happy to do that for a couple of reasons. One, I like just getting that chunk of stuff done in the day, try and win the day as early as possible. And then after you get the most important tasks for the day done, and then after that, that at least you moved everything forward. And so even if something comes up, because that's every day there's some emergency that comes up. So when that happens, it doesn't take away from moving the business forward, right? Yeah. And then so that's a big part of it. Another thing is I think it kind of goes back to that growing up backpacking and stuff, like you wake up and it's like, we're going 7 miles that day. And like, that has to happen. And so you don't really wake up and spend a lot of time fucking around in the morning. You get up, you pack your bag and you start hiking,
It's like the military without the military, right?
It's like the military. Yeah. It's like the military without having to worry about getting shot at.
Yeah. So the rest of your day, is it batched like that as well? Like, do you have your day like fine tuned?
Day by no, not as well as it could be. It's more of by days. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I go to the warehouse for Caffeine and Kilos, and I'm there all day. And then Fridays and Mondays, I kind of work from home or I work from the gym. I've been working from the gym a lot lately. And then on the weekends, I just kind of work from home or wherever. Sure. And the weekends also, I don't work as much throughout the day. I still do that block in the morning, and then kind of throughout the day, if there's something that comes up that needs to get done, I'll kind of find some time to handle that. But really but Monday through Friday, it's a lot more throughout the day. So yeah, it's kind of batch by days. So the days where I'm up and then even those 3 days in a row, I'm up at the warehouse. It's kind of on certain days I have certain tasks I kind of do, and other days I have other tasks I kind of do. So yeah, once I get past that morning, it's not quite as regimented hour by hour.
Sure, sounds good. And so are you a multiple hat wearer, or have you learned over the years that you're better off wearing maybe one or two hats and delegating and achieving through others?
Oh, I think both are true, right? So you're definitely better off delegating and achieving through others. But I also like knowing how things work. Meaning, an example is we need to hire someone actually in Caffeine and Kilos right now, like someone for marketing to do some marketing stuff for us. But we just got a new email software we're using. And so instead of hiring somebody and then having them do the whole onboarding for the software, and then if they don't work out or they leave and then no one really knows kind of what's going on. So like, I just took that on myself is like, okay, well, I just carved some time out to kind of learn like how this software could best benefit the company. Right. And then once I have that down, then I'm going to bring someone in and then teach them that. Right. So that's kind of on a small scale. That's an example of how like there are times where you definitely wear multiple hats, and then there are times when you can delegate it out. But I think it's really important to be, I think the term's polymathic, right? To kind of know how to do lots of different things. I think that you may not be an expert in these different things, but if you have a competency in lots of areas, then it actually makes you better at delegating things because you know who can handle what, and you can actually when someone works on something, if it doesn't work, it's nice for you to be able to look at it and kind of know why it doesn't work, you know? So I don't plan on doing, I don't do everything, or I don't plan on doing everything, but I do like having some base knowledge.
For sure, yeah. I was like that when I had my gym back in the days, but I think being younger, when I had it, for me, it was a control freak sort of type thing. Like I found it really hard to let go of, a lot of areas of the gym because it was my livelihood, it was my survival. But then now I look back, and thank goodness it did change before I sold the gym, but I had like 5 fingers and 5 different pies, and I was probably giving 50% in each of those areas.
Right.
Once I let it go, oh my God, what a weight off my shoulders. And the gym grew so much more when I had the right people in place.
Yeah, and there's things that you're not good at, like maybe you can do or you know how to do, but like you're not good at or you don't like. If there's something you don't like doing, hire someone that does like doing it. Like there is somebody who likes every job, you know? And so
we're thankful for those people, right? Like, because without those people, man, it'd be really shit sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, so I listened to a couple of podcasts building up to you, and I hear that you've kept the hiking on board and just slayed a big mountain recently.
Yeah. So it's funny. Lots of backpacking talk. I hadn't really done much in a long time. My neighbor, he likes to go hiking and stuff. And I always told him like, oh yeah, let me know. I haven't gone in years, but sure. And so he said, hey, you want to go up Mount Whitney, which is I actually didn't even notice at the time or wasn't paying that close of attention. It's the highest peak in the continental U.S., right? And so I said, oh, yeah, sure. Sounds good. Mount Whitney, yeah, all right. Just one day, it's like 20-something miles up and down, but, you can do one day. So, yeah, sounds good. And so it's like 8 months away. Well, then about a week before, he said, hey, man, ready for Mount Whitney next week? I said, oh, yeah, I'm ready. I work out 2 to 3 days a week. And,
Yeah, I work out.
So I should be all right, And he said, okay, yeah, it's supposed to be about going to be below freezing the whole time. So make sure you pack warm. I was like, oh shit, I wasn't ready. And then I kind of looked into it a little more and found out like at the highest peak in the continuous US, this whole thing, I thought, oh man, I'm underprepared for this, but it was fun. So yeah, we showed up, we started hiking at midnight and got up to the top around 10:30 a.m. or so. And then by the time we got down, it was like 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night.
Man, that's a long day. Like walking the whole time?
Nonstop. Yeah. Nonstop. Like we stopped to fill up our water and then kept going.
So how was the fitness on that? Obviously being a CrossFitter and a lifter, going out and just walking for a really long time.
Yeah, well, it was my everything felt good muscle wise. Like my legs are fine, my back was fine, everything was okay. Just my joints started getting a little fucked. So like one of my ankles started getting on the way down, started getting real swollen, type thing. And so that was really it. Just my feet were pretty beat up, and I think my ankle was fucked up for about 3 weeks after that. Just from the swelling and that. It was fine. I could walk on it. It just, kind of hurt. I had to limp a little bit, but so it was, and that really kind of speaks to just being in decent shape. I think that people are capable a lot more than they think they are. And what it is, it comes down to like so what doesn't get used, right? And that's where you get into like your ankles and your feet, and your joints and that type of thing. But yeah, it was fun. It was great.
And then
I think it's important to do something that's hard. I think it's important to kind of get in over your head every now and then,
And this is where I was going, actually. I'm just sort of painting a picture for everybody, because not only have you just done that recently, but I believe I'm talking to a world champion.
Yeah, sure.
Tell us a little bit about that, mate. Like, I watched the video, I think it was last week. It was a wicked story. Yeah,
thanks. So, yeah, I was competing in weightlifting for 5 or 6 years, training, 7 to 9 times a week type thing for that. And getting up to around, I placed top 10 in the nation a handful of times. That was kind of it, right? I think I got 5th is the highest, my highest ranking. And
which is awesome, mate. Come on.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, so I was on this team, and all my teammates, like, you're on the team, like, oh, these two guys are current national champions. That guy's got an American record, and so this is the team you're on. So it's just expected, right? Like, you're expected to kind of go there, and the team pays for all your travel and everything. And as part of that, you're expected to score team points, right? And so you got to place in the top 10 to get to score team points and all that. And so I did that for about 5 years or so, in like 2010 to 2015. And then I had not been competing. Well, at 35, you're a master, right? And get the old man categories in weightlifting start at 35, just because it's so kind of hard on your body. So I wasn't really planning on doing any masters weightlifting meets. And then a friend of mine who does a bunch of them said, hey, Masters World Cup is in San Diego, which California is pretty big. It's like a 10-hour drive, but it's a short flight.
Yep. Short,
cheap flight. He said, hey, it's there. It's not like in Germany or something. It's just, right down the way from you. Like, you should go and lift in that. Let me see. And I kind of looked at the calendar, and it was like 20 weeks out. And I thought, well, the timing actually works out. I have a little bit of time. I hadn't really been training weightlifting. I just been doing CrossFit a few days a week. But I said, well, I kind of looked at the numbers, what people were doing, and kind of what it would take to have any sort of success there. And so the one goal I had was the medal at a national meet, and I never did when I was competing. So I thought, well, this is an opportunity to kind of get that monkey off my back, So I started lifting, started training again, trained for 8 weeks, did a local meet, got the qualifying total I needed, and then had 12 more weeks of training, and then went down to San Diego, and anyway, yeah, I ended up winning. So that was fun. It was great. It was a fun experience.
And winning by quite a large margin by the looks.
Yeah. So I kind of looked at the entry totals, and it's hard because when you used to like train for this basically full time, you know, your numbers are going to be different when you're not doing that. And especially after taking a few years off, and because getting strong just takes time. But so I was kind of looking at that. I was kind of looking at the people entering, and the way the session was my weight class and the weight class above me, we were in the same session. And so I said, well, I should win my weight class basically on my openers. And so on my first attempts. So I said, well, fuck this then. My goal is not just to win my weight class. I also want to beat all the guys in the weight class above me. Right.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, and then when people would ask why, I'd say, because fuck them. That's why, you know. But that really it's because I knew that because I needed something to drive me a little more in training. I knew that if I just showed up and all I needed to do was beat the other guys in my weight class, well, I kind of knew the numbers they were doing, and I knew what I was capable of, and all that. And so I knew that I didn't have to. I knew there's a good chance that I could win on my first attempts, right? And so you get 3 snatches and 3 clean and jerks. And so what's going to drive me to keep training hard and actually be in shape to go down there and do what I need to do. And so that was just my little trick to kind of get myself to keep pushing hard in training and to get ready for the meet. And so didn't have success at that. I believe I would have gotten second place in the weight class above mine. So
that's pretty good though. Hey, this might not interest most people, but so what did you lift at that event? What were your lifts? And then how does that place against your like lifetime PBs?
Oh, so that's a whole thing. So my lifting, I actually didn't lift. It's kind of funny. I didn't lift that great. Also, we opened light because it was you just open heavy enough to win. Like, why open at whatever 120 kilos if all I need is 113 kilos to get first, right? So I opened light, and then I took bigger jumps. And so in the snatch, I only snatched, I think, 114 kilos, whereas my best all time is 143.
Wow.
And even in training leading up to that meet, I was snatching 120, 122, around there. And so I was going to open about 120, but then we only needed 113 to win. So I kind of took that, and that was fine. And then in clean and jerk, I clean and jerked 153 at the competition, where my lifetime best is 176. So,
I mean, what, masters athlete out of the game, like officially for quite some time?
Yeah, on 20 weeks of training, it's not so bad, you know. But they were down a weight class, so the weight class has changed. I used to 94 kilos was the weight class when I was competing. That's not a weight class anymore. Now it's either 96 or below it is 89. And so these numbers are as an 89. And my bigger numbers are always as a 94 kilo lifter as well. So a little less. That matters a little bit.
And you look like you've stayed around that weight. Would I be right in saying that?
I'm right around 92, 93.
You look great, mate. You look really good. So
talking.
I love this idea that I love this idea. You're always striving for more. It always seems like you have something that you're really trying to achieve. What is it behind that Danny Lehr needs something or loves to have something to head towards?
I've always been next step. I've always been a next step guy, and I want to win. I really want to win. I'm competitive. And it's not even about beating other people necessarily in most things. It's just, I want to do what I'm capable of. Right. And I feel like you can always do things better. Like nothing is ever perfect, you know? And I mean, that's with everybody, right? Like, I bet you talk to Michael Phelps, like I bet he'll tell you that he's never swam a perfect race, you know? That he could always do something to get better, right? One stroke or one of his turns or something, you know? And I think that that's important to have that. I think as soon as you start kind of resting and you start thinking that something's good enough, then you're asking for trouble.
For
And
sure.
so,
And that shows up with every athlete, every successful
mhm,
business person that I talk to.
right.
Like you
Yeah.
have these expectations. And even when you get really, really close or achieve those expectations with the greats or the really successful,
Well,
like, yeah, it's still not good enough.
right. Well, it's never perfect. It can always, everything can be better. And so, yeah, I also really like the feeling of getting better. I really like, like, hey, I couldn't do this before. Now I can, right? I like that. So that's kind of, I'm just driven by, I just want to improve, I always want to improve, want to kind of get better, want to make the best, want to do the best I can.
That's wicked. Do you think that comes, who does that come from? Mum or dad or something you developed
Probably,
yourself?
probably a big part of that from mom. I think she's she was really competitive. She's always, I mean, it's funny. We would, I remember like we'd play Yahtzee or whatever, like 10 years old, and she would just whoop our ass every time, like relentlessly, like there was no let you win type thing. But you know what? When you won, like, it, like, you earned it, and I think that that's really valuable, and that was a big takeaway from that. It's probably the one thing that I definitely got from my mom. I mean, my dad too, like my dad's, relatively competitive. He likes to have fun. He likes getting out and having fun and so, whereas my mom, it's a lot more kind of cutthroat with things. So I
I'm glad you
remember,
said that because
yeah,
that makes me feel a lot better that I'm that way with my son because
yeah.
I'm like you. I'm so competitive.
Oh yeah, and it's funny. I do the same thing. I don't let my daughter win and stuff, and she'll get frustrated sometimes. But I mean, shit, she's 7 years old. We're playing Connect Four, and after I beat her, a few times, whatever, she's getting a little frustrated. And she's like, "Well, how'd you do it?" And I like explained to her, "Okay, well, this is what I did. Like, I saw you in here, and like I set this up, whatever, and kind of like show her how I set something up, and then she knows. Like, it's funny. Then she'll." Oh, we don't play for a few weeks, and then we start playing a few weeks later, and like she beats me one game, and I was like, oh shit, and she did what I showed her, right, type thing, and I kind of wasn't paying attention, and I was like, oh man, I gotta focus, like I can't just kind of mail it in anymore because she's actually paying attention and using the things that that she learns and all that, and if you just let them win, she would have never learned that, right? She wouldn't have learned that. She wouldn't have been forced to kind of remember how it was done and everything. And so I think it's important to, you can give them opportunities, you can give them openings. And if they're trying really hard, I think if they're trying really hard and they're doing everything right, it's okay to give them an opening or give them an opportunity. But I don't think it's okay just to flat out let them win.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because I know you're a big Carol Dweck and growth mindset man.
Oh yeah. Yep.
We at work, well, my past job, they're not opening up because of the pandemic, so that's all right though. But we do a lot of positive psychology, and they did this this research years and years ago, and they had two groups of children, and they did the same test. And they told half the group, wow, you guys are born naturals, you're amazing, this is absolutely fabulous. And then they told the other kids, oh, you did all right, but keep working hard and keep working hard, and we'll see what happens. They did exactly the same test a week later, and they changed one question, and that one question was a little bit harder.
Yeah.
The kids that they said, wow, you guys, you're so gifted, you're so smart, you're so intelligent, they failed drastically, and they crashed and they hit a wall, and then they stopped believing in themselves. The kids that were told they worked hard sat at the question, they worked their way through it, and guess what? They did it, and they increased their score drastically. Yeah. So that whole idea, once again, of like just letting someone win is just like giving them a pat on the back, saying, oh, you're a natural.
Yep. And also you turn them into liars.
Yeah.
That's the second part of that study, right? Is they have them write a letter to another school who they say this school is going to take the test. Let them know how hard it is and tell them what your score is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I said, tell them what your score was and let them know like any advice for them or whatever. And the kids who they said you're natural, like you're just natural, whatever, they all hyperinflated their scores. Like something like 60% of them fucking lied. And they're like, and it was completely anonymous. These kids, you do not know these people. They will not know who you are. It's completely anonymous. And so even on anonymously, they lied about their scores. And whereas the growth mindset kids, like whatever, only like 10% lied about their scores or something like that, right? So yes, those kids, they told them they were naturals and naturally gifted. They actually turned them into liars on accident too.
Naturally good at lying as well.
Yeah, well, because they have the mindset. Well, because they felt like they weren't good enough, right? And there's nothing they could do to be good enough, and so they felt like they needed to lie about how good they actually are.
Yeah, I love Carol Dweck. That stuff is so important, and not just from a business standpoint, from a life standpoint, from a sport standpoint, everything. It just applies to every area in life.
Absolutely.
So what are we expecting from Danny Lehr in the future then? I mean, obviously you're already a businessman. Caffeine and Kilos, you're going to ramp that up a little bit. I see the new product, which I'm going to get on board and buy some, so ship it up to Canada. But that looks amazing. I'm really enjoying that idea.
The Clearly Caffeine?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all natural. The problem is there's all these pre-workouts. They have a bunch of bullshit in them, right? A bunch of other stuff. And so caffeine is most proven, tested, ergogenic aid, like workout helper, supplement. But a lot of that other stuff isn't, right? And I like pre-workout as much as the next guy, as far as before like a big training session. But one, I don't like that I don't know exactly what's in it. And two, sometimes I don't like that my scalp itches. And then also it kind of fucks up my sleep a little more. If I just drink coffee, I'm just clean, then I'm fine. But if I have the pre-workout, then sometimes I notice the next day I wake up, I'm just not as rested. And so he said, well, it'd be great if two things. One, some people just don't like the taste of coffee, and that's okay. I understand it, but that's all right. People like different things. And the other thing is that for convenience, sometimes it's not real convenient just to like brew a cup of coffee, whereas mixing the powder and water is, always really easy to do, like throw it in your gym bag or whatever. So that was the idea of Clearly Caffeine. Is it's a pre-workout without the bullshit. So we say like it's like the caffeinated LaCroix is the idea.
And I love that because I've never been a pre-workout guy. Like I just always felt like it was like, taking thermogenics. Like I was just wired so I didn't like it. So I was always all about like, if you need a pre-workout, just take coffee. Like get coffee.
Yeah, drinks coffee. Yep. And so this is the caffeine only pre-workout. So it's actually been going really well. People really like it. Also, like it helps that it's delicious. It's like it's so good, and it's just natural flavoring, So
what is it? Watermelon? Did I say?
Yeah, it's water. It tastes like watermelon Jolly Ranchers.
Jolly Ranchers. Yeah. So for the Kiwis and Aussies, you don't know what Jolly Ranchers are, but they're pretty all right.
Yeah. So that's great. And so that's kind of what got coming. Is we have some more things, kind of in that vein, I guess you could say. So just some different. We're not at this point looking to launch into being a full-on supplement brand or anything like that. But there's just a few other things that make sense for us. There are things that our audience has asked for, or that our customers either buy from somebody else and would like somebody who offers a great product at a fair price, and someone who thinks, trusts us and that type of thing. So there's kind of a few other things that I think we're working towards in that direction. And then the other thing is that the coffee of the month, man, like we have this coffee of the month, and it's phenomenal. Every month it's a different blend that has a different profile from a different part of the world. And people just love that. So that's a lot of fun. I think they like getting something different every month, and they're always really good. Like it's always great tasting coffee, great blends, but sometimes it's a little bit lighter roast, sometimes darker, different origins. And so that's a lot of fun. Yeah.
With that business there, what gives you the most kicks? Is it the caffeine side of things, or the coffee side of things, or is it the product, like the clothing,
apparel,
stuff like that? Because your clothing line, the quality is exceptional.
Yes, I mean the apparel is great, and that's it's funny. It really is. Like some of our customers only buy coffee from us. Some of them only buy apparel from us. It's kind of it is split there. It's kind of, I think overall it's closer now. The gap's actually narrowing all the time. overall, we sell more apparel, but our number one SKU, like the number one single product we sell, is coffee, right? Is one of our blends of coffee. But that's been changing because with that coffee of the month, people just love it, and it's been really taken off. And so our coffee sales have been increasing every month because of the coffee of the month. People keep subscribing to that, and people hang on their subscriptions a long time because, I mean, most time people don't stop drinking coffee. And so if it's good coffee and they like trying something different, and all that. So that's been really good. It's been fun to kind of be able to share that with people also.
And is that predominantly just US, or are you guys shipping all over the place?
We ship all over the world. Most of our sales are the US. Second is Canada. We do ship a lot to Canada, and we have pretty favorable shipping rates to Canada as well. I mean, it's obviously more than the US, but it's also less than other international shipping. So the rates up there are a little bit lower, so it kind of allows us to do that. So if someone is in Canada, just know that your shipping rate is lower than other international orders. So we kind of do what we can there as well.
Big coffee man, I've had your coffee, so maybe it's time to jump on the coffee of the month. Hey, I like to ask like all my guests, just to finish up with, if there was one main thing that you could tell people listening right now that has helped you with, I don't know, that drive to success that you have in your life, or the thing that has helped you get through adversity, what would that be?
I'd say two things.
Two.
Well, just because the first thing I was going to say is that I really think you have to commit to something. And so, for example, how I said I get up at 4:30 every day, 7 days a week, right? Like I get up and I work every day, right? And it's just something I do. And some days I don't feel like it, and that's okay. I just do it anyway, right? And I think that that's just a big part of success in whatever you're doing is if you're going to do something or you want to accomplish something, most people know what it would take, or they at least know the next step. But it's the unwillingness to continue to do it. It's the lack of discipline that a lot of times is the problem. And so I think that just if you know what needs to be done, you just have to be disciplined to do it. And I think that a big part of that comes from structure. And so whatever you know that you need to do, block off some time, and every single day do the thing it takes to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, And so I think that's the thing. And the other thing I was going to say as far as getting through things is actually a quote, again, from Craig Ballantyne. A lot of times he says when things are going bad, it's like, this too will pass.
Yes.
And so that's helpful. Because a lot of times when things are hard and maybe you don't even know what the end is, or can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel, at times. You just got to remember, like, nothing lasts forever, right? It's like the blue sky theory. You may look up and you may only see clouds, but damn well on the other side of those clouds, get an airplane, take off, you get through the clouds, pop out on the other side, and there's a blue sky, right? Like the blue sky is always there. You just can't see it through the clouds, right? So this too will pass. And then in those hard times, you have to continue to be dedicated to doing the thing that you need to be doing.
Absolutely beautiful, especially for the time and history that we're in right now. Like, this is all going to pass, and there will be silver linings. That's without a doubt. There will be silver linings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, man, I thank you for your time today, because obviously with the talk, we know you're a busy man. Where can people find you?
Just go to caffeineandkilos.com. That's a good spot. And then, or you can, if you go to DannyLehr.com, Lehr, that's how I spell my last name. So DannyLehr.com. And then from there, you can link to Caffeine and Kilos, to the gym and all that type of stuff.
And you're doing a newsletter type blog thing there with your website.
Yeah, I do a newsletter type blog there. That's one thing I'm more or less consistent with. I like to do it, and I get more consistent with it when things are going well. And then when stuff like this pandemic kind of hit, other priorities took a front seat there. But yeah, if you sign up, for sure, they'll be coming out again more regularly, and kind of check those out.
Wicked, man. We'll look forward to it. Good luck with the future of Caffeine and Kilos. Not that you need luck, because you're a man that's driven towards success, and luck has nothing to do with it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thanks, buddy. We'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Have a nice day.
See you, mate.